Hello everyone, welcome back. Good evening. It is episode 370. No. What episode are we on? Is it 360 or 370? I wrote it down. 374, allegedly. How are we here? Anyway, welcome back. So, nothing has happened at all in terms of price movement. We are exactly the same. No change in, well, of course, the pivot levels that we discussed yesterday. No change in price. No change in super trend levels. Seems like everything is just smack flat dead the same. Now we did get a bit of volatility in the morning for whatever reason. Sharp rise up, sharp drop, hitting a high of 69,000. Oh, well, 70,000 exact actually. That's pretty good. And then we dropped immediately to 67,253. all within the same 4-hour chart or candle. And now we've a little bit recovered from there. 68,650 is the current price of Bitcoin. Not too bad. Rest of altcoins, nothing too notable from what I see. I mean, Ethereum's still here. Can we stay above 2,000 with Ethereum, please? So, really, I don't know what else to say in terms of this price action. Really, really boring. It's not moving a cent. So, I'll just simply reiterate the levels as to what I've mentioned yesterday. I'm expecting, of course, Bitcoin, a test of 72,000. We managed to break that. We can rise to a high of 78,000 before actual reversal. Because we would be continuing whatever downtrend this is. Or at least there will be major resistance over here at 78,000. I would not expect price to, if we do have a nice clean breakout, I wouldn't expect it to continue from here. Rather, I would expect it to kind of correct. Yes, we will have a super trend in our favor from here to where the price, could start rising along with it, given an uptrend line will be drawn something like this. But it's going to be a very short-term temporary one. I don't know, maybe we will gather enough strength to continue higher, maybe to 80,000. 80,000, of course, being another important resistance. I don't think we will. Rather, I think we might just continue dropping over here, invalidating whatever super trend we have, and continuing the super trend based off of, wherever the price decides to go from here, potentially making newer lows or retesting that 60,000 psychological level, double bottom, local support, whatever you want to call it. Potential move for Bitcoin. Maybe. We'll see what happens there. I'm going to delete everything. And that's my thoughts on it. If none of that plays out, then, this downtrend, super trend level will just maintain. Bitcoin's price will continue to drop lower. First, the support level of 65,000, which I doubt it will hold given how hard Bitcoin has been dropping. Then you got 62,000 as another support, and ultimately the 60,000 line itself. We'll see how well that maintains. And of course, super trend should follow dropping that sense, if that is to be the case. But I'm expecting this week to be decent. Hello, Greg. Happy Monday to you too. It's Happy Family Day. We didn't get to work today, which is awesome. I took the day off and did absolutely nothing, which was nice. And then it's also President's Day for the Americans. God bless the President Trump. That's about it. Also in China, there's like this New Year's thing, the Year of the Horse or something like that. When is Chinese New Year? Well, that is tomorrow then, till March 3rd. Dates may vary. Well, there you go. And what is the Year of the Horse now? Lunar New Year welcomes the Year of the Horse. I never really understood all these animals, these random animals being the year of those animals. I only read about it like once or twice, but that's about it. Don't really care too much. Sorry, not Chinese. You get the point. Hello, Crypto Squid. I'm doing fantastic. Hope you guys are doing great as well. So, yeah, those are my little thoughts on Bitcoin. Hopefully a rise to 78,000 before an ultimate reversal. Because we do have this downtrend line to worry about. If we do, for whatever reason, get enough strength to continue pushing higher, I don't see the reason why, but if we do get that, you're looking at 83,881, basically 84,000. 83 to 84,000. And that could maybe take up to next week, I don't know. But for now, I wouldn't expect it higher than 78,000, worst case or best case, depending on how you're looking at it, 80,000. And if this does approach over here, might consider selling, because I do expect it, you know, whatever bear market that we are in, I expect it to continue for a long while. So I don't want to be exposed to that. And I also do not want my liquidation price down here because people are calling for levels lower than this. So yeah, 49K. No thanks. I don't want to be a part of that. So please rise to 78,000. I'll take my losses and then, you know, maybe I'll DCA, maybe I'll wait for a good breakout, whatever the case may be. Okay. Same deal with Ethereum, of course. Nothing has changed. Super trend levels are the same. Prices are the same. My resistance and support levels that I've mentioned yesterday, those are still the same. Drop to 1750 to retest the double bottom. Break below that, you're at 1600. And I don't expect it to obviously go lower than that. Worst case, of course, 1500, but that's about it. Toward the upside, I don't know. Depending on how strong a breakout can be, you can get 2,360 or 2,250. 2,250 for sure. But I don't know. If Bitcoin does rise with strength in the upcoming days, I think Ethereum will, of course, rise even harder than that. So maybe we do see the 2,360. But once again, we'll need some really good push, some good volume, some good strength, volatility toward the upside for that. Solana very early in the game. I should have drawn what I had yesterday. Where did I draw it at? I think it was around this pivot level. Would have been right here. Price of Solana. But I don't know. Because the thing is, we didn't really make a actual bottom, so I would have put like a stop loss below that super trend line. And then how high could you go from here? 1 to 2, 1 to 3 risk reward ratio. I gave you guys a target of like 99 or 100. I feel like that was absolutely valid. If you followed my advice yesterday, you'd probably be looking like this. But don't follow my advice, because I don't know what I'm doing. And I didn't do this anyway. And I'm also, I don't know, it's all dependent on what Bitcoin does at this point. Solana's not going to rise on its own unless we get some Solana-specific news, which we are lacking that these days. Not much is really going on with it. We did have that partnership with Solana with PiUSD. Not really a partnership, it's just that PiUSD will be using Solana's blockchain by default, rather than Ethereum's blockchain. We will be talking about Ethereum later on as well. Some comments on Vitalik Buterin and what he is doing. The guy is just selling coins. Whatever. It's not just that though. He made more comments on like the Russia-Ukraine war and then I guess the crypto industry itself somehow relating to all that. We'll be talking about that later. Current price of Solana is 86. Invalidation of uptrend is at 80. So anything, you know, above this, if you manage to get a nice swing, especially by looking at the 15-minute charts, which we did get that over here, that was your potential entry signal. And yeah, we'll see how it goes, of course. To 100 if Bitcoin performs well, of course. Moving on. Hyperliquid, $31.18. Good. Let's stay above 30. We kind of dipped below it over here. Our lowest was 29.55. Still in an uptrend, though. Nothing to be all upset about. I don't know how much longer, though, we'll be sustaining this unnatural uptrend. We explained the rise being due to commodities, of course. I don't know what's going on with commodities anymore. Seems like not much. I don't know. There's talks about wars potentially happening again. We have maybe another round of talks between the United States and Iranian officials about what to do with the Middle East there. And maybe Trump will get involved in those talks he's been talking about. We'll get into that, of course, in our news section. Oh yeah, I wanted to look at commodities. Gold is, well, it's recovered from its drop, but not all the way, and it's technically in a downtrend. Same deal with silver over here. But I mean, if you zoom out far enough, this just looks like a normal, good old correction. Totally not random to see silver crash 41% in a day. Poor boomers, am I right? Or, I don't know, randoms investing in this. I mean, crypto's doing much worse, so I don't blame them. BitTensor. Okay, we're making more moves over here is what it seems like. Really, really trying to break out of this downtrend line. Look at this huge wick. Why did this happen? We rose to 215, clear resistance there. Huge sell-off immediately after. And this happened this happened yesterday, right after I finished streaming. Of course. As soon as I hit end stream, everything just goes wild. Right. But we're on our way up right now. Uptrend has been there. It was one of the earliest ones to flip its trend, BitTensor, likely due to its extremely oversold nature, which, yeah, I don't blame you. Nice. Currently, uptrend invalidates at 156. I expect this to slightly rise in the upcoming hours or days. But this downtrend line seems like it's being pushed out of the way for now, which that just further validates whatever we're seeing over here. Now, does that mean go long here? Probably not. I would expect, I don't know, us to make like a actual better bottom before we start seeing another rise. Especially since we are like actually testing this downtrend line itself. And when we do manage to confirm a bottom, you know, super trend should like follow whatever the price is doing, and your uptrend line would look something not like that, but like that. You know what I'm saying? So could be something good. We'll see what BitTensor does, what it has in store for us. Obvious $200 resistance here too, of course. No candle closes above it, so we're really trying, but we'll see how it goes. Is there any news specifically for BitTensor? Why is it doing this? Seems a bit unnatural. Tau. High conviction volume surge, technical breakout, that's nothing. Near term market outlook. Yeah, it's nothing. A 276% explosion in trading volume. Such a dramatic increase without an obvious news catalyst. That typically signals either aggressive accumulation by large holders or a short squeeze forced by sudden rapid buy pressure. It's backed by substantial capital flow, giving it more credibility than a low volume pump. Alright, so just sudden spike in volume. Interesting. That's what you got going on for BitTensor. Litecoin, no percent movements, $55 still. Very boring. 56 is what we need for this to break out, to rise to maybe 60 before meeting an important resistance from the downtrend line. Psychologically, it's also there, resistance to, and the number 60, of course. We'll see how that goes. Otherwise, we're dropping to 51, 48, etc. Let's dream not that these levels get hit. Move on. SUI, up 2% today, 99 cents. Now, this is a great move for SUI. So we've done our little pullback that we've been expecting. Yeah, we kind of bottomed out over here when we streamed this yesterday. Low volatility. And then now we're getting the rise. Maybe, just maybe, if you really want to take the gamble, you enter at 99 cents to $1. Put your stop. Yeah, maybe somewhere over here. But the upside potential, if Bitcoin does indeed have its breakout, seems really good for SUI. Any upside potential that it may bring. And that is if you really want to like put a tight stop loss to this bottom. What would this be? 90 cents? Entering at $1. And then you have your risk reward ratio for every 10 cents, of course. How much you expect this thing to rise. At 130, I feel like that's reasonable for SUI. Wouldn't you agree? So yeah. I love how we hit exactly $1 high today as well. It's pretty impressive. And yeah, I feel like Supertrend, of course, should indeed follow this if the up movement does continue. So that way, you know, your stop loss would be below whatever the new uptrend level rises to from the super trends. And, you know, your position would be safe, right? Arguably, if this goes enough in your favor, you could just put a stop loss at break even or at positive territory while you watch SUI perform, right? Possibly. We'll see what happens. Moving on. I don't have money, so there's literally nothing I could do. I really wish I did have money. Part of the reason why I just want to out my Bitcoin position. I would rather just hold spot Bitcoin at this point, especially during this time, during a bear market. either spot or just on as a Bitcoin ETF that will pay you dividends like Bito. The Pro Shares one, they pay you really good dividend, and you basically move the same movement as Bitcoin. You get that same exposure. With a slight deviation, but it's not that bad. The dividends more than make up for that, in my opinion. It's only frustrating that last time we got, like, nothing in dividends. I think I talked about it as soon as that happened. It was early February. Why am I searching it up? I have it right here. Here's where the dividend payout was going to happen. We got 1 cent dividend payout. I literally got $2 of dividends versus 74 cents per share that you would expect in previous months. 77 cents per share, 83 cents per share. We've even seen cases of $1 per share type dividends. $1.20. I mean, fair enough. Price was a lot higher back then. Like, we're talking Bitcoin all-time highs almost, right? I know these prices are different than what you're normally used to seeing with Bitcoin, but trust me, the percentage movement is the exact same equivalent. Now, markets didn't open today, so that's why this is still stuck over here. Not that it will change in price, because Bitcoin has not moved at all, but you get the point. Get out. Okay, Chainlink, same deal. Starting its new move to the upside. Uptrend invalidating at 831. And yeah, I mean, if you really want to get in the move early, same deal. Same deal. A tight stop there. You got a good potential for rise, maybe even up to $10, $11, right? Well, 10, of course, being the most immediate resistance. It's a psychological one, too. If you really want to tighten your stop loss, you get a 1 to 2 risk-reward ratio there. But yeah, that is only if it's Bitcoin dependent. If Bitcoin does manage to break above 72,000, that's what we see. Hey Chad, geez, the future of finance is an on-chain zoo. Moodang in your soul. What is this meme coin lingo? Moodang. That's the hippo thing, right? What is even going on with those? I mean, yeah, but if we're talking memes, I guess I want to go. I still have to do research on meme core. That's the thing I really wanted to look up more. Because I was fascinated by its lack of a drop, right? Holding relatively strong. Hedera also, continuing its upward movement, although I don't think I would expect too much of a high movement. And if we do, I mean, it's going to be an explosive one. Because we're breaking out of an important downtrend line here too. We're going to really need something good. And we might get it this week. We might. There are some stuff that we can discuss. Any potential good catalysts that can move markets. I didn't mention anything about the price. Sorry. 10 cents. 186. Chainlink's price was $8.97. Right very close to $9. We had a high of $8.98 in recent hours. We're really close to $9 Chainlink. That's it for this. That's it for Hedera. Let's move on to Monero. We bottomed out a little bit over here at 315. Lovely. Please break above 370 and we will be great. I'm rooting for Monero here. Like seriously, best privacy token in my humble opinion. Based off the little research that I've done in my life. Okay. There we go. So Bitcoin's also at 69,000. Great. We're slowly on the rise. Let's move on. Let's get into our news. So we will be talking about Iran again. They just keep doing stuff here, man. There's some tension exploding, not explosions. Relax. There's just tensions in the Strait of Hormuz. Why is the Strait of Hormuz important? Because this is where 20% of global oil shipments are taking place. They did threaten to close it down. I think they actually did close it down at one point last year in the middle of that wartime that was going on. But they, immediately decided to undo holding this place hostage because, that cuts 20% of global oil shipments. The price of crude oil just spiked up when that happened, I remember. So what they're doing right now is they're launching military drills in that world's most critical oil choke point. The US has issued a direct warning that this is a massive escalation and any miscalculation could trigger a full-scale conflict. Is this real? Yes. As reported by sources like Al Jazeera and Reuters. Reuters is fake news. This occurs amid U.S. naval buildup and nuclear talks. Yeah, let's not forget, the U.S. Navy is literally there. They're just chilling over here, from what I know. A U.S. warning issued earlier in late January, but no new direct warning for these drills is confirmed, so that's still waiting. Tensions are high with risks of escalation noted in reports. We'll see what happens. Trump also making some threatening comments. He says, if I were the supreme leader of Iran, I would be afraid to sleep in the same place for too long. Once again alluding to the fact that, hey man, we know where you live, so you better fear us. He did the same thing last year as well. Hey, it's a nice little bunker you got there. It would be a shame if we dropped one of our bunker busting bombs. Yes. On your head, like we did to your other nuclear scientists and generals, military generals. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but we're still willing to negotiate, allegedly. We'll see what happens tomorrow specifically, and I have more news on that. First, I want to talk about, well, other people expecting war to break out. Representative Cisneros just filed a purchase of a stock in the defense contractor Raytheon. Cisneros sits on the Armed Services Committee, and there have been reports that the U.S. is preparing for a possible operation in Iran, which we do know about. Maybe he knows something. Another one is a Polymarket bet. $64,000 bet that the United States will attack Iran, and they will win $240,000 if it happens by the end of at the end of this month. Okay. And this user previously won $278,000 by betting on Israeli strikes on Iran. And who is this person? Maga My Man. Okay, that's what it is. Interesting name. Israel has arrested several people for allegedly using classified information to place bets on Israeli military operations on Polymarket. Interesting. Probably Trump Jr. Nice. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. So today's President's Day, like I said. Trump posted this. Prices and inflation are way down. Stock market and your 401ks are way up. You know what is not way up, though? Your darn cryptocurrencies. Our military is strong and powerful, and we will use them to kill Iranians. The regime change. Our law enforcement is great. Pretty good. And our border is 100% secure. That will admit, sure, yes. Murders, year 1900, and crime are at record lows, which is also true, credit where it's due. Our country is bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Working hard, enjoy your day. I did enjoy my day, thank you. They were in Mar-a-Lago. Now Trump and Melania are headed back to Washington, D.C. after spending President's Day at Mar-a-Lago. Hey, and Valentine's Day, let's not forget. Now, Trump also held an Air Force One press conference, which we'll get into as well. A lot was discussed in between the gaggle of Trump and these news reporters. He posted this on Truth Social saying, heading to D.C., we'll give an Air Force One press conference shortly. He's talking about Marco Rubio here. He was doing fantastic in Munich, Germany. Also discussing the Democrats, AOC and Newscomb were an embarrassment to our nation. For one thing, they shouldn't be talking badly about the USA, especially on foreign soil. Haha, get it? They made fools of themselves, and always will. Crooked Hillary merely showed her anger and Trump derangement. Really bad representatives of our now very successful country. Yeah, a lot of funny stuff happened with AOC. I think she said something like, Venezuela is south of the equator. It's literally north of the equator. What else did she do? Something about Spain and horses. I don't know why we're talking about that, but she's just completely getting her facts wrong. And she even had a a Biden moment where she was just like completely stuttering and didn't know what to say for like a whole minute. Word salad. Kamala Harris. I don't know why they're so good at that. I'm no better. I don't blame them, okay? But it's pretty interesting to see these people rise to power. What is all this? It's all just endorsements. Get out of here. So, we have a lot more to discuss. This is what was talked about on that Air Force One press conference. Of course, they brought up Epstein. Trump says, I have nothing to hide. I have been exonerated. They went in hoping that they would find it, and they just found the opposite. I'm assuming they're talking about incriminating evidence for Trump and Epstein. I've been totally exonerated, is what he says. On the crime statistics, he says, it's a horrible thing to say, but we have the best murder numbers since 1900. Yeah. He's not wrong. It's literally true, yeah. Fact checked. Correct. On the Geneva talks with Iran tomorrow, this will happen tomorrow, talks in Geneva, Switzerland. He says that he will be involved indirectly. Trump. He says that they are bad negotiators, the Iranians, because we could have had a deal instead of sending the B-2s in to knock out their nuclear potential last year, and we had to send the B-2 bombers. So Trump will be partially involved in those talks tomorrow. I'm hoping the talks go well so that we can just get this all over with. Or if it goes wrong, do the bombing, get the regime change done, let's get this over with. Give us one more market crash and move on, right? That's why I'm saying we'll see what happens tomorrow, I guess. Trump roasts AOC and Gavin Newsom, saying that they're a bad look for America, literally explained in the Truth Social post. He says, well, you can tell how much Trump dislikes AOC and Newsom because he tore them apart while giving Hillary a backhanded compliment. When Trump thinks more highly of Hillary Clinton than you, that's a whole new level of low. Interesting. Trump also has been telling Zelensky, Ukraine better come to the table fast, is about as blunt as diplomacy gets. The ball is in Zelensky's court now, and the window to negotiate isn't staying open forever. And I wonder what they're talking about there. I'm assuming it's when Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, I think they had a extensive talk, like late night talk with our bro Putin at 3 a.m. in Moscow time. I think that's what happened, right? And then they moved out to discuss the Middle East foreign policy. Yeah, so I guess we're waiting on Zelensky now. From last I checked, Zelensky is still sending drones to Russian territory. I just didn't have the post pulled up, but that's what's happening. I'm also seeing by the way, I'm also seeing more footage come out of just young men walking on the streets of Ukraine, going about their day, I don't know, walking their dog, going shopping or something. A van pulls up. 5 military uniformed men storm out, grab the guy, and try to take him by force to go serve in the military because he is a young man and, you know. And then you see like other civilians literally defending the man, like punching the military and telling him to go away and stuff like that. They clearly don't want to go to war, and it's all just being prolonged. Please, I do want that war to end. So, also hoping for the best in that sense. Moving on. Trump says that Democrats cheat. The fact is they could never get elected if they had voter ID, proof of citizenship. Yeah, and it's also true. Why does only one party fight about this basic verification? ID for everything else in society is totally fine, but voting? No. Like, come on. How does that make sense? Make it make sense. It's racist? No, it's not. It's not really racist. Trump teases replacing Marjorie Taylor Greene in Georgia district visit. Trump just visited Rome, Georgia, Greene's former turf, and confirmed a packed field of candidates lining up to replace her. He said there are lots of strong contenders, and whoever he endorses is basically guaranteed to win. Given all the turmoil within factors of the GOP, does the Trump endorsement still win primaries? Interesting. I do wonder about that. We'll see. I mean, the main one that people will be looking at, I guess, is in Kentucky for Thomas Massey and I forget the other guy's name. but he has Trump's endorsement because obviously Trump wants Thomas Massie out. Now, other people do kind of back what Thomas Massie does. Yes, he's kind of going against the trend of what the Republicans are going for, especially when it comes to the Epstein files and the release of that. That is what he is more notoriously known for. So I don't know. We'll see what comes out of that. Kentucky, all eyes on that. So yeah, that's all I have for here. And I mean, here we just have back-to-back endorsements. I wonder if I could find it. North Carolina, Kentucky. Does he say Kentucky? No, I don't think I'll find it. There's so many. Texas. Maybe I did. Maybe he did say it and I just skipped over it. There's so many. Texas 11th district. He's going through every single district. And he also says he does believe Iran wants to reach a deal. And he will be involved indirectly, like we said. And that Iran will not want to face the consequences of not reaching a deal. Otherwise, there will be war. Which, yeah, it's kind of what we all expected at this point. So we'll see how the talks go tomorrow. I'll cover that, I guess, on Wednesday. I won't be streaming tomorrow. On Cuba, he also talked about saying that Cuba is now a failed nation and they don't even have enough jet fuel to get for airplanes to take off. They're clogging up their runway. We're talking to Cuba right now, and they should absolutely make a deal because it's a humanitarian threat. Okay. And on Venezuela, reporter asked, if a deal isn't made, would you consider an operation like the one in Venezuela? I think we're talking about Iran here. Why would I answer that if I was? I wouldn't be a very tough operation. It wouldn't be a very tough operation, as you can figure, but I don't think that will be necessary. On what is he talking about, though? I'm sure it's on Iran. I think it will be a tough operation. Iran is much larger, much more capable of defense, I think, than Venezuela is. But hey, they have the secret weapon, the discombobulator, or whatever it was, this secret alien weapon that makes you blind and deaf and bleed out of your ears and causes your brain to go fuzzy, so that American Marine soldiers can just walk in with their fancy gas masks and capture your president, or the Ayatollah in this case. Trump also tells Senate Democrats to shove it on their DHS funding demands to weaken ICE and law enforcement. Keep in mind, we do have like a mini shutdown going on for DHS. Most of DHS is shut down and Trump is holding the line. Reporters asked, will you meet with the Democrats this week? Trump says, I will. But we have to protect our law enforcement. We have the best crime numbers in years. He's bringing that up a little too much. But it's true. It's good. We don't want the crime, so there you go. Another stuff that is going on, February 20, Supreme Court opinion hearing on Trump's tariffs will be happening. Right now, 26% chance the Supreme Court rules in favor of Trump's tariffs, at least on Polymarket, which means, of course, 74% chance that they will be ruled illegal. That's not favorable. I do want them to be ruled in favor of Trump's tariffs. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. On Canada, well, we're renewing the relationship with China as part of our new strategic partnership. China is granting visa-free travel for Canadians, which we have discussed before, so I guess it's starting this week. That's the big news. I can't wait to go to China. Didn't somebody... Yeah, literally this. China travel advice. Exercise a high degree of caution. You literally want us to go die over there or something. And the rest of it is just a bunch of memes between the two, Mark Carney and Xi Jinping. I don't know. Trump is not going to like that at all. But well, anyway, what control does he have anymore? We've been tariffed enough. Like, what else can happen? Mark Carney also says that we are launching the Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit this year. So more Canadians have more in their bank account. Yay, we're getting money from the government to buy food. It's getting that bad. Why can't our jobs just pay for everything? Yeah, we steal tens of thousands of dollars from every family through excessive taxation, and we're giving you a couple bucks back and expect you to say thank you. Or you're buying immigrant votes. That's what the comments say about it. There was also, I saw a clip from XQC, a streamer, big streamer. He's a Quebec man, and he also did complain about it. He's like, dude, I'm getting taxed 57%. The government is taking 57% of my income. Why don't they just come stream for me, since they, at least half the time, since they're taking more than half of what I earn, which is so true. And then he started complaining about how, oh, the streets, there's literal craters in the streets. What do you mean the taxes are used for? Anyway, you get the point. Big news happening here as well. Another shooting at Rhode Island in a hockey rink of a bunch of high schoolers. Hockey game, normal night on President's Day, no big deal. A gunman walks in, kills his wife and 2 children before taking his own life. A third child was also shot and is hospitalized at the moment. Police swarm Rhode Island ice rink after multiple shots were reported. Yeah. You hear like multiple gunshots like right over here. People start hearing it, start panicking, start ducking, start running away. More shots are still ringing out. As soon as there's a bit of a pause, I'm guessing the gunman, I don't know what's going through your mind at that point. Regret. And then at the 20-second mark right here, the final gunshot is heard, which was a self-inflicted gunshot, and he died. Okay, well, why? Whomst? It's another transgender shooting. There you go. This is allegedly the person who did it. A man to woman. Dad, by the way, a whole dad. This is the shooter at the ice rink. Some guy says, I played hockey with his son, who is one of the victims he shot at. He killed his young daughter and shot his ex-wife. Oh, it's ex-wife now. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, of course, you're transgender. So, and someone else at this other son's senior night. Psychopath used to come to games dressed like a woman one day and lifting dumbbells, pacing back and forth the next. Clearly a conflicted mind. Oh, is that him? Sorry. Yeah, everyone's reaction. It's terrible. It's a tragedy, of course. Praying, of course, for the victims and their families. Here's the suspected shooter. More information on him. Reported as Roberta Esposito, who was wearing women's clothing at the time of the shooting. A woman later today, who went anonymous, said that the father shot her family and himself today. These are photos from his Facebook. The suspected shooter was a father who may have dressed in women's clothing, according to a local news outlet. 3 people, including the man, are dead. They posted this as the news article. I don't think I'm going to read through all this because I covered it. It's being called a domestic violence altercation that turned deadly, according to a news outlet. This is the news outlet. Local media is reporting that law enforcement says the father, who shot his wife and kids in the middle of a hockey game, may have dressed in women's clothing. And here's the daughter of the shooter saying that her father had mental health issues and was very sick. Yeah, no kidding. This just comes, I'm bringing this up again because it comes days after we had one in British Columbia. Another transgender 18-year-old shooting up a school of kids. Same deal. It just never ends. So, yeah, not much else to cover there. Praying for the victims. Moving on. U.S. debt is expected to hit $64 trillion by 2036. It's only 10 years away, and we're more than doubling that or tripling that. Okay, lovely. Annual interest payments alone will double to $2.1 trillion, which would eclipse the entire defense budget. And the scariest part is that this model assumes there will be 0 recessions for the next decade. Surely we will get another recession and inflate the US debt number a lot higher. But fear not, you can contribute to... Your peasant contribution will help reduce the debt. I've covered this before, which was comical, but I'm bringing it up again because everybody else is. The US government is now collecting donations to help pay off its $38 trillion in debt. You can donate via bank account, PayPal, Venmo, or debit or credit card. Why can't we just tokenize the whole thing and crash it? Like, that would just be the easiest way, in my humble opinion. Wise words from the ex-president of Russia. What was his name? Is it Medvedev? Russia ex-president. Oops. Yeah, Medvedev. He said that. Based man. So, yeah. What else is going on this week? Wednesday, we're having FOMC minutes. Thursday, jobless claims as per usual. And Friday, we're getting core PCE inflation, the Fed's preferred inflation metric. Q4 GDP, that will be interesting to see. Manufacturing PMI, and the Supreme Court tariff ruling, that is February 20. So we do have a volatile week coming up. Finally, maybe we start making some good moves. Maybe those moves are up here. If everything is favorable, of course. We shall see. I would expect it would. How much worse can it get? Hey, let's not forget what Andrew Tate said. It can always get worse. We'll see, dude. This is good news, maybe. The Federal Reserve is planning to inject $16 billion into the economy this week, and another $14.6 billion planned for next week. Why are they injecting more money every time? We covered it last week too. How do you see this chart? I really want access to this. And what will happen? Based on the Fed's treasury purchases, which inject liquidity, markets often see a boost. Think rising stocks, crypto, or assets, but it's not guaranteed. It depends on broader economic factors. Is this true? Yes. Financial reports confirm the Fed plans to inject $16 billion this week, with ongoing liquidity around $40 billion a month, suggesting similar for next week. And you can verify it on federalreserve.gov. Why is this in Spanish? Where do I see this? I'm new to this website. Okay, do not judge me. I've never seen any of this in my life. I'm intimidated. And I'm surprisingly bored. Okay, let's move on from that. Hey, Fed is giving us free money. Not us, but the whole market, I guess. How can one be bearish? Russian crypto activity surges as daily crypto spending hits $646 million. Not too bad, Russia. The finance ministry says citizens are transacting roughly $648 million in crypto per day and over $130 billion annually as lawmakers rush to fast-track exchange-focused regulations. Yeah, you better get on that. And, yeah. I don't think it's like a lot compared, of course, to much other countries. But it's a start. Maybe this is a lot. I don't have another country for comparison, so I wouldn't really know. But it's still something. That's the good stuff. This is saddening news, I guess. The ICOs of the coins. Now, okay, I'll give my opinion on it in a sec. Fun fact. Ethereum's ICO, so this is the value of Ethereum when it came out on the market, was at $18 million of a market cap. Of course, Ethereum is at 200 billion now, right? 241 billion. That's where the growth comes from ever since Ethereum first ICO'd at $2.83. Fair enough, right? And we've seen better days for Ethereum too, with the market cap hitting, of course, up to 500 billion. That's crazy. Where does all the money, where did it go? Anyways, so that was Ethereum back in the day, back in 2015, allegedly. BNB, Binance, they had an ICO of 15 million. And Solana had an ICO of roughly 70 million. That low base effect is exactly why all of them went to deliver insane multiples. It makes sense, right? This was only, well, this is 4 million market cap. No, I'm reading numbers wrong. 170 million, 60 million, etc. Until ultimately those numbers became billions. That is why Solana, Ethereum, and BNB are the top dogs with multi-billion dollars worth of a market cap, rising from the few $1 million that they were at. Nowadays, most ICOs that come out, they're just selling random junk at around 500 million to 2.5 billion plus in valuation. Basically no real chance to make money. If something is already at a $2.5 billion market cap at ICO, you're expecting it to start off literally over here. And there are literal examples of this. I'm looking at, where is that darn coin? This one. Where did it go? Canton. What is this? It came out in November 2025 with a market cap of, let me see the market cap, 5 billion. We're at a 6 billion market cap. Where's the room for growth from here? Sure, it can hit, I don't know, 100 billion market cap, but your project has to be like just as good as or better than maybe XRP. And we're talking in an ideal scenario here. If you're starting off like this, with an ICO that high already, you don't got a lot of room to grow. And that's the same situation for a lot of other alts as well. There's so much to name that I can't think of any. What about Memecore, I wonder? Now, Memecore had a fair enough market cap valuation at 87 million. And it has 1 billion. Like here you do have some room for growth, right? The lower the market cap at ICO, the bigger the explosive growth that it could experience as time goes on, if of course the project is well deserving and good for it. So yeah, it's just another interesting thing I wanted to point out. Okay, so there's that. We have this wall of text from Vitalik Buterin that we will be talking about. His opinion on the Ukraine war. I'm going to read through all of this in Russian. No, I'm kidding, I'm not. I can't. I can try. Like, I am starting to understand some Russian words because I've determined to know what the alphabet means in English context. Like the way you pronounce Russian words. But then I gave up on it. So anyways, Vitalik says, soon it will be February 24th. It will be 4 years since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. He says, I believe it is better to leave that day entirely for support of Ukrainians. Ukraine needs a lot of help to continue defending itself and to minimize human suffering from attacks on residential buildings, the energy system, etc. Today I will express my opinion from the perspective of Russia's future. He says, I look at the situation partly from an insider's perspective and partly from an outsider's. I was born in Russia. My whole family is Russian, but I grew up in Canada. I followed the political situation the whole time. In 2017, I even sent 1 Bitcoin to Navalny, but I wasn't deeply involved. Who is this person? He sent a Bitcoin to a frog. Oh, he was poisoned by a frog. Is that real? Alexei Kremlin accused of killing Navalny with a dart frog toxin. Okay, never mind. This is a rabbit hole that goes deeper than I expected. When did he die? Oh, he died last year, February 2024. Literally 1 year, no, what am I saying last year? 2 years ago. I really think that 2024 was last year, like my brain is just not functioning there yet. He died 2 years ago, literally today. How convenient. I don't know if he brought this up on February 12th. What? Okay, coincidences of life. Anyways, he what a waste of a Bitcoin. He sent it to a guy that eventually died. Well, he sent it in 2017, fair enough. The guy must have sold and made profits by then. I have my own political instincts after 15 years in crypto, and all kinds of fighting on Twitter, X question mark? That's funny. Everyone has the right to listen to me or not to listen, as you wish. Here I will write 2 parts. Oh, it goes way more than that. Okay, we've got a long road. Why I support Ukraine and say that this war is criminal aggression and not a complicated situation where both sides behave badly, as some people claim. And 2, about the future. Today's stalemate, the idea of peace with the Russian people, and on the basis of which ideas a more positive future for Russia could be built, and the proper role of ideas such as decentralization, digital democracy, etc. Oh my gosh, do I really want to read all this? I mean, I'll translate it and I'll scroll through if you really care. Why I support I do really want to know this. Can I just get Grok to summarize all that? I probably can. That's why we have AI. We'll let it think. He critiques Russians' opposition's stagnation and ineffective photo ops with Western leaders, advocating instead for peace with Russian society by building a 70-30 coalition excluding hardliners like Putin and Dugin, emphasizing post-Putin economic incentives for moderates to foster a non-aggressive Russia focused on global contributions in math, informatics, biology. Okay. He integrates his expertise in decentralized tech, proposing tools like quadratic voting and AI-assisted consensus platforms like Kleros to redesign Russian governance as strong for citizen welfare, but inherently weak against aggression, while using them today to revitalize opposition by surfacing new leaders and ideas through direct democratic processes. What is that? About the future, Putin doesn't want peace. My impression is that Ukraine's current strategy is to destroy both the Russian army and infrastructure faster than they can be rebuilt in order to give Putin a difficult choice, either to declare a new official mobilization, both a mobilization of people for the massacre and mobilization of economic resources, thereby once again showing the Russians and the world what kind of person he is, or finally to agree to peace. Maybe the plan will work, maybe it won't, we'll see. I really hope the war can end this year, same. One problem I'm noticing is that Russian opposition is at a dead end. I see online someone taking a photo with the prime minister of some European country, both sides saying nice words about peace, support for Ukraine, and political prisoners. Then a month later they do the same with another European country, but for what purpose? What result? This year I've started expressing more bold or even more extreme thoughts on Ethereum. Yeah, to the point where he's selling it off. Because I feel like crypto has also reached a dead end. Last year, many people thought meme coins and Trump's favorable legislation would create the next bubble, but that never happened, and now many are asking, what now? Making new progress requires new strategies and a willingness to reinvent many things from scratch. And when I look at the Russian opposition, my instinctive impression is similar. There is a class of people who left Russia after 2021 to 2022, receive donations, and have comfortable, stable jobs being oppositionists. The same group of people determines the opposition's actions, and there's a lack of opportunity for new heroes and new ideas to rise to the occasion. But the Russian opposition needs to deliver new results to the world, and to achieve these new results, we need new ideas and thoughts from new people. There's currently 3 points of view about Russia and the West with which I disagree. That Putin is not so bad and we need to be best friends with Russia. I kind of agree with that, but okay. That Putin is the devil, but the Russian people are angels who only want peace, friendship, and freedom, but whom the evil Putin oppresses. Yeah, I don't believe that either. And that all Russian people are devils, even the liberals, are actually all imperialists. Russia has a unique 1,000-year-old culture of disrespecting people. I don't believe that either, yeah. Okay, well, there you go. He says, I believe Putin is the devil, and the Russian people are neither angels nor devils. There are many Russians, not just those in government, but also ordinary Russians who have disappointed me because they talk so much about freedom, justice, and decentralization, but are unwilling to apply these principles to the most obvious situations in our world. But there are also cultural shortcomings that are obvious even without war. But there are also many people who hate war, perhaps young men in their 20s, who need to think not only about work, but also about family, grandparents. And it's not all clear that if they want to do the right thing, they even need to do it. I also hope that seeing how different Americans, regular people, Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, and politicians behaved this past year, as their government threatened Greenland, ICE attacked American civilians, and so on, it has given everyone another example to help us understand how much of what people do is the culture of one country, and how much is psychological patterns that exist in every country and are just waiting for permission to express themselves. Dude, how long does this go? Oh my gosh, I'm nowhere near this. I don't know if I really want to go through all of it, dude. I feel like I really want to, but I also don't want it to be like too boring. I guess I'll only see what's important and read through it. So, Okay, what's the 70-30%? In complex political situation where there are friends, adversaries, and coalitions, a successful political strategy can often be explained like this. Imagine people as standing on a continuum, from those closest to your goals and values to those furthest away. You need to cut this continuum with a knife so that 70% are on your side and 30% are on the other side. Here, in the question of Russia's future, who are the 70, who are the 30%? So Putin, Medvedev, Dugin, Simonyan, and all the cannibals in 30%, this is obvious. What? Okay. All Russians who are ready to say that Putin is evil and Ukrainians are simply defending themselves, or simply those who are ready to invest a lot of effort to create a democratic, peaceful Russia, they are the core 70%. This is also obvious. I think he's just blabbing now. The 70% are people who are ready to return to the path of peace. To create this, we need to find ideas for a treaty that protects the security of Europe and Ukraine, and offers a chance for economic success for the two peaceful Russians who care about work, pensions, healthcare, etc., but sacrifices the interests of those who care about military glory and expanded Russian world, hatred, etc. And Putin will not accept such a treaty. Putin will only negotiate the most basic ceasefire, that is, transition from a hot war against Ukraine to a cold war against Europe. Putin can only be helped to jump from a high balcony or drink some delicious KGB tea. What? What is KGB tea? Am I... Komitet Kudzhortrevenoi Bezompasonotsti. I guess that means like the CIA for Russia. State security. What's the equivalent? No idea, dude. I'm uneducated in this. Yeah, intelligence, I guess. The CIA for Russia. We need to have the most non-cannibalistic faction in Russia, even if they themselves are far from meeting your moral and my moral standards, win the domestic Game of Thrones. And this can be done by showing people that if they help a less cannibalistic team gain power, there will be opportunities to improve the economy and people's lives. I don't want to read all this, dude. Yeah, here's the whole post if you really care and want to go through it. So, I'll just read the bottom line. Oh, here it is. Vitalik's thread marks 4 years since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. He supports Ukraine, calling the war criminal aggression by Russia, not a complex situation. He debunks the Russian justifications, knows Ukraine's improvements versus Russia's repression and atrocities. For the future, he sees a stalemate. He advocates peace with Russian society, not Putin. He suggests decentralizing politics for a stable, non-aggressive Russia, focused on science and tech. He calls for new opposition ideas using digital democracy tools. There's the bottom line if you didn't pay attention to the last 80 hours of me reading all that. He also says that users should be free to use Ethereum even if they disagree with his views on app design, politics, DeFi, privacy payments, or AI, or despite the fact that he's selling off. He's stressed that as a decentralized protocol, Ethereum should remain permissionless and censorship resistant, while noting this does not prevent individuals from making value judgments and applications and publicly criticizing them. Buterin argued that neutrality should belong at the protocol layer, while individuals in the community should clearly state their principles, build ecosystems aligned with their values. All right, more endorsements. Yeah. Hey, did you guys see this? This girl from the Olympics, Gu Eileen, is currently, allegedly, dating Justin Sun. I wonder why. That's all. And yeah, she's part of the Chinese Olympics. Well, representing China in the Olympics, not Chinese Olympics. So yeah, that's cool. And my last bit of news is that Meta AI, they've patented an AI that can keep a deceased person's account active and running, posting, messaging, and video calling by replicating the user's behavior from past data. That's freaky, don't you think? If somebody dies, an AI will replace the dead person, go through everything that they've ever said or done in the past, and use that to personalize themselves in the future to continue communication with people on social media. I don't know. Some people are saying, man, if somebody dies, let them stay dead. You know, their account dies with it. And hey, this was leaked on 4chan 3 years ago today, apparently. Some guy says, I'm a meta insider working on Project Lazarus. Interesting name. Lazarus from the Bible, if you don't know, died and got resurrected by Jesus. So yeah, we're building an AI that can take over a deceased person's social media accounts and continue making relevant posts as if that person is still alive. This includes age-progressed photos, interacting with other people's content, and everything else needed so that person continues on in the digital realm after physical death. That is crazy, dude. Like, I've had friends that have passed away by now. And I don't know, if I upload an image to Instagram or something, if I see them commenting on my posts, I'm blocking them. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. That's freaky, man. And I saw, I think there was like, I don't remember what I saw, but I heard a story about this before. I'll get into it later if I remember. Anyways, what does it say? We were told originally this would be a service offered to people struggling with the loss of loved ones and people who had missing children. Yeah, I guess a way to cope, maybe? Seemed like a decent idea. Things are getting weird now, and I'm having second thoughts about what this is actually going to be used for. The AI is extremely capable of impersonating people. It doesn't take as much initial input as one might think to train the AI how a certain person interacts with the digital world. It's very convincing. An entire island of people could go missing, and with little to no downtime, the AI could take over all of their social media, and the world wouldn't have a clue that life wasn't just continuing as usual. That's crazy. A lot of the project is becoming more compartmentalized. Things have taken a dark turn, it feels like. They've forbidden communication between people working on different things. Something isn't right, and I don't know what I should do. I'm not going to post any personally identifiable information, but I will try to answer questions that won't expose my role within the project. If you don't know, of course, 4chan, that's where the anonymous leakers usually go to. So yeah, it's been talked about in 2023 February. Crazy. What do I think about this? Hey, if I die, I do hope an AI takes over the streams and just continues making content and generating no money on this damn channel. Hey, maybe I'll be a million subscribers by the time I die. No, I don't want to sentence myself. Yeah, anyway, moving on. Yeah, I saw another, it was like a creepypasta story, I think it was, where a girl, something about a girl had a crush on a guy, the guy dies in an accident, but he's still texting her even though he's confirmed dead. And then she still manages to fall in love with him even though the guy is dead, but it turns out, I don't think it was AI. It might have been. It was either AI or some other creep that took over the account. Or some family member of his, I think. I don't remember how it worked out, but there was a little story like that. It reminds me of it. So, yeah. Interesting. We'll see what comes out of that. Okay. That's all the news I have for tonight. So we're gonna... No, I'm not streaming tomorrow. Dude, I have to work tomorrow. Yeah, it's only oh, never mind. I was gonna say it's only a day of work, but then I'm like, no, it's also Wednesday and Thursday. Hey, at least it'll be a shorter week. I had the day off today, it was great. No stream tomorrow. We'll be streaming on Wednesday. We'll talk about FOMC minutes, and we'll talk about what else was happening. Oh yeah, whatever happens tomorrow with the Iranian talks in Geneva, Switzerland will be discussed as well on Wednesday. Thursday, just jobless claims. Nothing too important. Friday will be more important. PCE data. That will be very interesting. So we'll see how things develop by then. Maybe that's the volatility that we need. And also, the Supreme Court tariff ruling. Let's hope that thing does not get delayed for the 17th time. That would be great, wouldn't it? Why are they scared? Just say yes or say no. Hit us with the sauce. Actually, don't even say no. Say yes. Say Trump is allowed to put tariffs, because we do need that. I've given my argument for it. A lot of people think that, okay, having tariffs illegal would be bullish for markets, because we don't have to worry about the headline. Trump imposes a 100% tariff on China on October 10, and then every asset will crash 80%. We don't have to worry about that if the tariffs are illegal. He has to go through a process through Congress, get it approved, etc. So that's the other view of it. My view of it is make the tariffs legal. Trump is allowed to freely put them whenever he likes. Of course, people disagree with that because of the October 10 crash, the April 7 crash, Liberation Day, February 2nd crash of last year, notable. That's the first time Trump ever announced tariffs as soon as he got inaugurated. That kind of stuff. But in the long run, yes, it's short-term suffering, but long run, it will be great for the United States economy. We're bringing investment. We are giving a tariff dividend check, $2,000. We're buying your vote. The economy is already good. Inflation is not even that bad, despite all the tariffs that are currently in effect. We're bringing countries to negotiate. We're bringing them to the table. We're stopping wars with tariffs, literally, in India, Pakistan, or whatever it was, Thailand, Cambodia. All this kind of stuff. I do feel like tariffs are an overall benefit. They come at a cost of a once-in-a-while crash, but those are all buying opportunities at the end of the day, right? This is a great buying opportunity. Arguably, April 7 was a great buying opportunity, if you manage to buy and sell it at the right time, of course. So I think that they will be good overall. And if they're illegal, I mean, all these companies that came in from these other countries, they're going to go back to those other countries, which will drive investment out of the United States. It will reduce the amount of jobs. You know, companies will not build American anymore. And then, you know, you have the other arguments of, oh no, but the cost of everything, and, you know, it's more expensive to manufacture in America. It's more expensive to pay American workers. Yeah, well, cope, seethe, and mold. If you want to have the American market and not have to pay a tariff on it, you better come to the United States and build it all locally. Because ultimately, I feel like the tariffs would be, you know, if you do want to sell to the hottest market in the world, which is the American market, you're going to have to pay a big fat tariff on that. So if you don't want that, come build in the United States. And companies have been doing that. So I feel like it's been an overall benefit. And I've mentioned it since day one, since tariffs initially rolled out, that it's temporary, bothersome event, but in the long term it will be beneficial. So that's my view. We'll see what happens on Friday, what they decide to do with it. If we get the good old pump, maybe I'll sell. Maybe. Hard maybe. Yep, so that'll be all for tonight, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe. I'll see you Wednesday then, alright?